G'day, Jade here from the Wealth Garden, and we're here in the beautiful Yosemite National Park today. And we're going to be talking about budgeting and why most people fail at it at the same time as cooking a breakfast scramble. So with that, let's get started. So I guess really the first point to start off is why even budget? For some people, it can just get overwhelming, which is probably where they first fail, is it gets overwhelming and they don't even start. But it's important to set up a budget. You don't necessarily have to do a budget worksheet, but at least coming up with some categories, which we'll get into shortly, on keeping your budget so that you can attain your goals, okay? So let's start prepping the ingredients for the scramble. Let's do a little sweet potato. And why is it important to budget is because, for starters, find out whether or not we're overspending. Are we living above our means? Do I have extra money that I could be saving, that I could be purchasing something else? Those are really important things there so that you can stay on track. Let's get this on the pan. Hopefully it's warm enough. Yeah, that looks like it's definitely hot. So the first category that I like to break things down into is those fixed, reoccurring expenses. And what do I mean by that? They're the ones that are never going to change every single month. Mortgage, for example, that is always going to be the same amount every single month. So jot that one down for a start. Basically, you have to pay that, yeah? Otherwise you don't have a house. Could be auto insurance. The next expense, I guess they're more just reoccurring, monthly expenses, but they're going to be a little bit variable. Like, what am I talking about by that? Gas for the car. It's unfortunately not going to be the same amount every month, but unfortunately you do need to have that because you got to get to work. Groceries, groceries are going to vary as well there. So why these are browning? Let's get back to prepping some of the other ingredients to get into the scramble, okay? The next category after that are like those want expenses, whether it be for gym memberships, whether it be for cable TV, HBO, okay? Those aren't a fixed expense. They're not really a need. They're more of like a want expense. You can probably get by without having Hulu, cable, all your cable networks. Gonna saute the celery for a couple of minutes and then we'll get the beef in there. Another category that often comes up is that one-off expense. People always are surprised how often a one-off expense comes up. They're really not a one-off. You can change the name of it, but one-off expenses come up pretty much every single month. It could be for something different each time, but they do always keep on reoccurring, okay? So make sure that you allow in your budget there to address those one-off expenses. And the beef, the good thing about with, bank statements or credit card statements, it kind of even categorizes your spending down for you, okay? So if you can look at over the last 12 months there and see some of those one-off expenses, annualize it, divide it by 12, and then kind of allow something in your budget there to cover those there. I like to break it up there. Ooh, it's hot. We'll let that continue to brown. Let's prep some of the other ingredients there. If you're still young and you're not in retirement, another part of your cost is going to be saving, And I'm not talking about stuff that has already come out of your paycheck for a 401k. I'm just talking about additional savings that you might have going into a taxable account. Maybe it's saving for a down payment on a house. Whatever it is, having a bucket set aside for saving is also important. We haven't even got to just fun spending money, have we? So yeah, that discretionary, fun money, okay? Whether it be going out for dates, whether it be going for buying a new pair of shoes, whatever it is, that's kind of like what's left over. And if you kind of get down to that point where there's actually nothing left over, it's quite clear you're overspending. So you can either work more or you have to start going through some of your costs and kind of working out where you can reduce those expenses. Mix up a bit of salt. Green sea salt. I'm going to put a bit of apple cider vinegar, a bit of salt on the scramble down here. Look at that. I think when I try and do budgeting myself there, and where I think most people fail at it, is they often put too much on a credit card as well. The problem with a credit card is you don't get that bill until the following month for your prior month's spending. So it's okay, in my mind at least, if you do have a problem with putting too much on the credit card, is to keep maybe only those fixed reoccurring expenses on a credit card, and maybe that discretionary fund money at the end, just try and keep it for cash initially until you can keep better track of your spending. Some people are really good at like doing those budget worksheets. I find that trying to simplify my budget and expenses into those categories that I just spoke about is a lot better way. I'm a financial planner. I can find it quite overwhelming. So if I can stick it to these categories that I spoke about, I feel I've got a better shot of staying on track with my budget and being able to save for my goals there. It's just going to cook for a couple of minutes, then we'll get the eggs in, and then we're almost eating. Just going to make a couple little holes there for the eggs to go in. Cook the eggs to your liking, and then we're on the home straight. While the eggs are cooking, let's finish up the toppings now, which will be the avocado and the fresh herbs. The last thing is just really being accountable, whether that be to a spouse, a peer, whoever, or even just to yourself. It's really important to have those guardrails in place and enforcing it, because if you're not going to enforce it, you're going to overspend. And the purpose of budgeting and financial planning is really just trying to keep on task there and work towards those goals there. Sometimes you're not going to have the money to be able to purchase that thing that you really want straight away. You're just going to have to save up for it, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can still achieve that goal. It just might take a little bit longer. Get some corn tortillas on. So what we've covered today is, budgeting and why most people fail at it. We've spoken about why even budget. We've spoken about at the high level of the different categories and why I like to kind of break my budgeting down into those high level categories versus doing a budgeting worksheet. The other one is being accountable and, trying to simplify your budgeting into those categories there. Let's get the final garnishes on. Diced tomato. Look at those colors. Avocado. Fresh herbs. And the breakfast scramble's done. Let's eat. So those are some tips there to help you with the budgeting. Hopefully you got something out of it that you can put into place. If not, at least you got to enjoy a delicious breakfast scramble.
I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with my latest cooking videos when they get released. If you have any financial planning questions, feel free to reach out to me at thewealthgardenfs.com, where you can reach out to me directly and we can schedule a call to learn about your specific situation. I'm Jade, and I'll see you again soon.